What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I'm here with Anthony and Dina, and we are here to discuss the season one finale of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
No.
Right. It's like I'm sad, but at the same time, I don't know. This last episode hit different for me. Did y'all feel
Mm-mm.
that way too?
It went back light. I think they had to lighten it up after the last episode.
It was that, but it was also, I don't know, something about the way it just felt different.
Well, it started out with the slow jazz opening.
That threw me off so much.
Wait, is something playing? Oh no, that's the show.
Right,
Okay.
Right.
right. That's
And
how I
for,
felt because I was
for
like, this music seems like very out of place. And
for
then
a second, I thought the Maester was playing something. And when he popped up, I was like, is he playing?
it was it was very weird. It was an interesting choice to start off the episode, and it was just, I don't know, just from there on, I don't know. I think for me, this was probably my least favorite of all the episodes
Oh, yeah.
because not
Yeah.
only because of that music choice, like I said, it felt out of place and it kind of took me out of the scenery. But then also there were so many um there were so many cuts in the middle of the episode, just like really sharp. Like I felt like I was getting whiplash when we changed scenes because they came so suddenly and they were just, I don't know, something about the flow of this episode was just really weird to me.
Yeah.
So,
Because
and I don't know if it was meant to be that disjointed because of, we're dealing with the aftermath of everything that happened in the last episode, but I don't know. It was very odd.
that's a good point. Maybe it was supposed to be that way because that's how the characters are feeling. Everybody is like distraught. Everybody's like feeling some kind of way. There's blame in the air. There's rumors in the air. There's people are sad. People are hurt, and maybe that's why they did that way. Because I also felt that way. Like after this, well, besides the smooth jazz, but this scene with Lionel where he's basically telling him, about the prince and everything. But like after that scene, it just kind of went to all these different things that are happening, and it just felt like it ended like in 20 minutes it was done, and I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what is this, the end? This
Yeah.
is what? And
It felt rushed.
yeah, very rushed.
I don't know. It didn't really feel rushed to me. I think it was cut. I'm agreeing with y'all there. I think it was cut this way because we are going from Duncan's perspective, and right now he's discombobulated. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's hurt. Baylor died. He's blaming himself. But every scene seems to be from his perspective. So he is kind of walking around, sort of still trying to figure out life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was a lot for him.
Yeah.
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 It was, I don't know.
Now I did like the opening scene because Lionel Baratheon just
he just
he
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 laid it
told the
out.
truth.
He just
Yes.
laid
He
it
was like,
out.
"Look,
Like,
we fought for you. The Apple Boy fought for you." He said Baylor didn't have nothing to lose. He was
Yeah.
fighting people who were sworn to defend him.
Yeah.
he was
it was
he was
purely
fine.
accident and
Yeah.
should not have happened. In the perfect world
Yeah.
Yeah.
he wouldn't have
Yeah.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm starting to think that Lionel is more honorable than he's letting on. Because I
Yeah.
think that really kind of pissed him off a little bit.
yeah. And I think so too. Even if you go back to the last episode when they got ready to start fighting and the question came up, what about the King's Guard? And Baylor answered, he was like, I'll handle the King's Guard. They are sworn not to harm anyone of the royal blood. And the question that was asked, and I don't remember who it was that asked it, they said, but is that honorable? And he
Yeah.
was like, we'll let the gods decide.
I think it was the night that got his leg messed up by Arian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he
I can
ended
never
up
remember his name.
I think that's Hardesty or something like that. But he ended up dying too. But
Yeah.
I thought about that when Lionel made the comment, because as much as we love Baylor and we love Baylor, okay, he, like you said, he had a point. There was no risk to him. So technically, he should have walked in there, walked out, no problem.
Hmm.
He, and I don't know if he looked at it in that way or if he calculated it in that way, because again, we didn't really get to know Baylor very well. We saw what we saw, which could have just been surfacey. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, he can present himself as being noble, of trying to do the right thing. But when you look at it from Lionel's point of view, were you really doing the right thing, or did you step up because you knew you had no skin in the game? You know? And
I think he stepped up because he felt guilt. I feel like he was honorable and that he really actually did want to protect Duncan because he
mhm,
thought Duncan was a good guy. But I think he also felt guilty because, like, even though obviously he saved him from just getting his head cut off, he
yeah.
put him in a crazier situation trying to
Yeah.
help him. And I think he was probably racked with guilt because he just that person. Like, it's better than him just getting executed.
Right.
But
Or getting
dang,
his
this is
hand and
messed
his foot cut off. So so the interesting thing I think about this episode is, like, it kind of makes you, at least for me, it makes you look at the Targaryens here in a, like, they're not just one-dimensional characters. Like, there's very much layers to all of them. But even with that, it was kind of weird. Like, the whole thing with Baylor. Okay, yes, on the one hand, he does look honorable. He presents himself as honorable, noble. But when you're looking at it from the outside, from someone like a Lionel or maybe even a Fossil Way, we don't know how Sir Raymond feels about all of that. But it's like when you're looking at it from a different perspective, you're kind of like, yeah, when you think about it, that really wasn't a brave thing for him to do. I mean, again, you're going into a situation where, technically speaking, you shouldn't have gotten hurt.
Yeah,
The only
technically,
reason,
no, nobody on the other side should have been trying to swing at him,
right,
period.
right,
Because they knew
technically,
what
yeah.
was good for them.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So then the other thing is, you have the other Targaryens, and, like, when you look at the characters and when you look at what they do, the whole thing with Arion, this is one of the things that kind of irritated me about the episode, because when Daron is having a conversation with Dunk and he's talking about his brother, he was like, my brother wasn't always like this. And Dunk has he thinks he's talking about Egg. And he's like, no, I'm not talking about Aegon. I'm talking about Arion. You know, he wasn't always this way. He was once a gentle child. And then it cuts to a whole different scene. And it's like, that's where y'all stop. And I know, Dina, you and I were chatting last night, and you were like, I don't want them to give me any reason to feel sorry for him. And I get it. I do get it. But I think it's interesting. It would be interesting to find out. And I think we discussed this a couple of episodes ago. Like, what made him that cruel, that arrogant, that, like, I don't have to have the whole backstory, but I do kind of want to see what's going on. Like with Aemon, we know on House of the Dragon, we know what happened with Aemon. We know he was bullied by the other kids because he was small, because he didn't have a dragon, and that kind of contributed to him being an asshole later in life. So if Arion was this gentle child, what happened? What was the catalyst for that? I
I
kind of want
think
to know that.
Duncan, I think Duncan kind of points it out later when he was like, I'll take Egg with me and Summerhall. You just can't send them to Summerhall because
Mm,
you took your other kids to Summerhall and look how they turned out.
right. Yeah.
And
Bruh,
if you don't want
I
him
was
to be like
like,
that, yeah,
you
if you don't
barely
want him to be,
kept your feet in your hands. You talking this smack to this man.
But you know what? Some
He's
of those,
telling the truth
hey,
though.
yeah,
And Maekar kind of, I think, on some level knows it, but he wants to keep
Yeah.
his family together. But
yeah.
dude, you yourself are not doing a good job. You are
When
not.
your youngest son is sneaking into the bedroom of your other child who is bedridden, who is beat the fuck up, and he has a knife because he's going to kill this man, and all you can do is look and hold him and have a tear come down your eye. Dude, there's something fundamentally wrong with that. For
Yep.
your youngest child, for your 9-year old to want to kill his brother, and you don't utter a word, you know that there's something wrong with that. But
Yep.
yet you still don't want him to go. That's my child. He's a prince. He's not going to sleep in those conditions. Bruh, part of the whole reason the Targaryens are the way they are, the reason why people don't like them in this time, and the reason why your whole fucking family is a mess is because y'all are arrogant. You
Yep.
have a lot of pride, and you don't like read the room.
Mhm.
You have your oldest son who is a drunk, does it's not a good night, does not want to be anything that he is, plus he has the dragon dreams. You have the second son who is such an asshole that he just demanded a trial by 7 that got a lot of people killed, and now you want to say I'm sending Arion to the east, maybe some time in the free cities will make him. But bruh, you should have did that way
Mm.
before all this started.
But he's gone because he thinks he's a dragon in human form. He's crazy. It's
But
as
he had
simple
to
as
get
that.
that way, somewhere he heard that, or someone told him that, and nobody stopped him, nobody corrected. It's that pride and that ego again.
I think it's also in the genes, to a certain extent, just like the dragon dreams and the prophetic dreams come down. I think that bit of madness passes down too, because it's if you look at so many of the kings and so many of the people in the Targaryen line have just sparked mad when there's others who are just perfectly fine, but it's
Yeah.
just certain ones
Yeah.
that are
I,
just
I,
crazy.
I swear they're all touched in some way. Some
So
more than others.
Yeah.
Because even Rhaegar
I'm
became
obsessed.
obsessed with his
Yeah,
dragon dreams
yeah.
and obsessed with the prophecy and would do weird things that weren't necessarily normal, like going and playing his instrument in what was it in what's the place called where all the poor people are in
Oh,
King's
flea
Flea
bottom.
bottom.
Flea Bottom, going down the flea bottom and playing his instrument or whatever.
Yeah.
They're all touched in some way, especially if you have silver hair.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's like they think they're so far above people, which we already know that this is how they think. They like you said in the last episode, Dina, they came over from Valyria, these almost peasant, like they came over with their dragons, they took over shit, they became the rulers, and they ruled for hundreds of years. So at this point, yeah, they feel like they're untouchable, but it's kind of like, are y'all not paying attention to the signs around you? Like your heir apparent just got killed, quote unquote, by accident, but also, why are you swinging the mace? Why? Just why? I mean, I understand the other people over there are trying to hurt you or whatever, but do you really think anybody on Duncan's team was really going out to kill y'all? No, they wanted Arian's head, but you didn't have any reason to be swinging that mace, especially not at your brother. And then to find out that Baelor was wearing his son's armor and to all that. So you're wearing armor that's not fitted to you. That's probably why his head wasn't as protected as it should have been, because that helm was probably not properly sized. It's just there's just a whole bunch of stuff
I don't
going
I don't
on with
think I
them.
don't think it would have mattered. that man smashed the back of that man's head. Man.
I, you
It wouldn't
know,
matter what helmet he had on
I
at the
feel like
time.
if he had something, that's something Steely Pete was talking about. He was talking about the different thickness of the steel when he was talking to Dunk about his armor. He was like, "Yeah, what you had was not all that thick. It wasn't all that great. What I'm giving you is a little bit stronger. It'll protect you better." You have to think that Baylor, if he had had his own armor, would have been better protected. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like,
but I just assume that for the most part, their armor is more ceremonial. Like I don't think Targaryens really have they traditionally their armor is not going to be thick and heavy because traditionally they're on dragons. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be bulky.
but it wouldn't be, but it would now because they don't even have dragons now.
Yeah, but tradition, they're just going to make it the way it's always been made for the Targaryens because they're Targaryens.
And again, that's that ego.
It
Because if
And
you
is.
if
but
you know that people around the kingdom don't like y'all, you would think you would protect yourself just a little bit better.
You would think,
like
but
they probably did in actual war, but because this was attorney, they weren't looking to like actually come out fighting. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, I feel like they thought that Darren and maybe Arian and Valar, I forget his name,
Valar.
Valar, they was gonna get out there, do whatever, and nobody was gonna mess with them because they the blood, blah blah blah, and then they was gonna go home. They didn't think all this craziness was about to happen, so they wasn't prepared. But that's the thing, though. Knowing that George R. R. Martin wrote these characters based off of like the UK and like the line of succession from whenever the hell back in the day in the War of the Roses and all this stuff, and you just kind of look at like it is exactly the same hubris, the same ridiculousness. Oh, the blood, and you got to have the blood. Mind you, half of them is bastards. Half of them don't really know who their parentage, what their parentage is. They lying about stuff. It's people doing schemes. All this stuff is so don't know. Like these people, they living off something that ain't even real. When
Right.
Aegon conquered and he killed people with dragons, once them dragons died with Rhaenyra or whatever, that was a wrap. Like
Right.
y'all have zero power now. Now y'all just living on a name, just like these mugs right now is living on a name from some people who've been dead centuries,
Right.
and they ain't got no real power. And because I mean, if they had real power, Prince Andrew might still be a prince. But anyway, the point is, like they're just living, they're walking through the through the whatever, what do you call it, the motions. They're just walking
Yeah.
through the
just
motions,
going through
Going
the
through the
motions.
motions.
going
Yeah.
through the motions. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
Because because really, like the small council basically rules. The king might say whatever or do whatever and have some decisions. But like, if look at Robert, who ruled the small council? It was Littlefinger. It was Varys.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I just feel like they just kind of just play the part because that's what the small folk expect.
But the only thing really holding everything together are oaths. And that's why it's very important for them to keep their oaths. And they all
Mm.
have sworn their allegiance and fealty to the Targaryens.
Yeah.
And the only way the kingdom can stay together if everybody fulfills that.
Yeah.
And that's why the Blackfire rebellions are so terrible because, well, I've sworn to the Targaryens, but there are these other Targaryens who don't like these Targaryens, so I got to pick a side.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why we're having wars right now.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not mistaken, before Aegon the First conquered everyone, a lot of the realms kings were fighting each other anyway. Like the Riverlands was always fighting with the Westlands.
Mm.
So,
Right.
and that was the thing he did. He stopped all that.
Okay. Yeah. But I I don't know.
The dragons just made it easy to say you either
Yeah.
kneel or
Yeah.
you burn.
Or you
Like
burn. I mean,
Right.
I'm not mad at that.
Right.
Some people
Now,
should burn.
since you mentioned the oaths, I will say this too, because a lot of this show has been about honor. about who has it, who displays it, who is truthful, and that sort of thing. I will say this: the fact that they confirmed in this episode that Duncan was never knighted, that he is not a true knight, I have to say I'm disappointed in that, because for the first 4.5 episodes of this season, you give us this character who is always talking about honor, who's always talking about doing the right thing, and who has this huge heart, and he wants to help people. I get it. But to find out that he lied his way in there to get into the list, and I understand he did it to try to better his lot in life, and he didn't think that he was going to come into contact with the princes of the realm and all of this. He didn't think he was going to get mixed up in all this. I get it. It's a thing that happens, but I don't know, something about it. I was so disappointed to find out, like, yeah, you lied to get here, and now it's like from one little lie, that one little domino, a whole bunch of other dominoes just kind of fell, and all of this chaos happened.
I don't know.
And this,
I can't feel bad because it shows that it shows him that you don't have to be knighted to have honor. And I think that's sort of the point. Like he wanted to be like them. He wanted to be a knight. He wanted to uphold these honorable principles, but then he realizes that it's not a real thing for them. He looks around all these nobles and all these knights, and all this crap is happening because they're crappy people
mm-hmm,
and they don't
yeah,
have honor.
I
Where
get
is the
it.
honor in breaking the girl's fingers because your brain is messed up, dude? Where's the honor in that?
And I
Where's
get
the
that part.
honor in lying about your brother being kidnapped? And you're lying on this man who had absolutely no idea what was happening.
I get it,
So
but you
it
can't you
doesn't,
can't be
so
mad.
it's hard to have any, to feel bad for Lincoln in that respect in any way because all these other people are just as fake.
I
They're carrying this
understand
title that
that,
means absolutely nothing.
and I
I guess
get it, but still it's kind of like, uh, I can't remember if I heard this in relation to this show or something else I was watching, but it's like you can't be mad at other people for doing something that you yourself are doing. Like, yeah, these people are trash, these people are lying and stuff, but you're doing the same thing by walking around calling yourself a hedge knight when you're not a hedge knight. It,
Mhm.
I guess for me, I
Exactly.
already figured. I already just thought he was lying to begin with, so it didn't bother me because I was just like, well, you got to get in there however you can get in there. But I
Yeah.
think in his mind, because it's kind of like how we they say don't meet your heroes because they're gonna always disappoint you because you're gonna
mm,
find out something about your hero that is not good that they have done that's disappointing. And I think the difference between him lying and him doing what he's done is because he's a nobody. Nobody knows him. Nobody knows anything about him.
yeah,
But all these other people are supposed to be these great people.
yeah,
It's supposed to be the great house. It's supposed to be all this great, 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 and everybody's supposed to be perfect. And then you see that people aren't perfect, and it's probably very disheartening, and probably honestly broke his heart because what he realizes now is that Sir Arlen used to risk his life for people who they couldn't care less.
right, right,
And he was a good man, even though he was drunk and he was wild and he was out there slinging that thing. But he had honor that he would fight for these people. He would do,
yeah,
and protect as protection was needed. Like he protected Dunk when he was stone cold drunk, throwing up everywhere. He was still protecting people.
yeah,
And for him to see people who are on such high pedestals be garbage was like,
yeah,
what in the world? This is horrifying. This is gross. This is disgusting. And but I figured that he was lying. I didn't think Sir Arlen ever knighted him because I felt like to a certain degree that wouldn't have been a thing that Sir Arlen would have done. I don't even feel like he gave him like the little bit of fighting that Dunk did. It is clear he had no training
yeah.
or and I just kind of feel like he was kind of really just using brute strength and hacking like Sir Serial Pharrell said, hacking away, and
And in the book, they make it pretty clear in the beginning he wasn't knighted. It's it's
okay.
it's really clear and obvious. And he, if I remember, he did think about that. He was like, he felt he was doing this, but he was doing it because in his mind he knew Sir Alan was going to knight him, but just died.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how kind of how he justified it.
Okay. Yeah.
But he didn't know anything else. He didn't know what else to do. Like what else was he gonna do? He couldn't go back to Flea Bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. And I and
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 again,
I think
I
we
get
also
it.
kind of we also kind of get this is probably why Sir Arlen never swore to any lord because they're all kind of not good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was better to just be on your own and do what you thought was right and fight on whatever fight you thought was right and just
Mm-hmm.
and honorable instead of working for some lord who's going to make you go bully some people
Yeah.
for no apparent reason.
Yeah. And I get that, and I understand. And like I said, when he first came on the scene and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the list," I know it was because he was literally in between a rock and a hard place. His person just died, and he really didn't have anything. And he was like, "Okay, I can't wander by myself." I don't think that was his intent. Like he would, I don't think he would have made it wandering on his own. Duncan very much seems like the type of person who needs to have a companion. And so he thought, okay, if I enter the list, if I win, what was it that they said? When you win, you get the person's horse, you get their armor, you get stuff. He would have had a way to start a life. So I get it. It's just, I guess for me, because of how pure he seems, otherwise, I wanted him to be above reproach, and for him to not be, it was just kind of a little bit disappointing. But I still love the character.
It's
But
Game of Thrones.
I
Who has ever been above reproach?
but
I
that's the
mean,
point. I wanted
that's
at
the
least one person
no,
who
no,
could
that's
be.
that's not how it
One
works. Ned Stark
person.
was living a lie and lied to
One
everybody.
person.
Even the most honorable person,
I know.
he
I
was
know.
not above reproach.
I know.
I
Nobody.
mean, no, that's true because Ned lied.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
lied.
I know. I know.
Everybody. Yeah,
Everybody, everybody.
everybody. There was nobody.
Speaking of lying, okay. Speaking of lying, how gullible is Raymond Fossil?
Oh my God.
Because how are you now? I like old girl. I like the way that she was cheering Duncan on in the. I like her, but the fact that real quick she was like, "Oh, let me go find this dude. Let me go lay with him. Oh, let me tell him I'm pregnant with his child. Oh, I have a feeling it's a boy." Are you a seer? You know what happens within like 8 to 10 hours? This is overnight.
That
It
was
was
like,
like,
bruh,
I
that
But you
was
know
still
what though?
I
I'm
still
so
love
proud.
Raymond. I
I'm so
still love
proud.
him because when I say 10 toes down for Duncan, him and Lionel, I love them so much because they both proved, they were like, look, we are loyal. When Lionel said that, when he was like, your prince didn't risk shit. He was like, I risked my life for you. Hardesty and the other guy, they Beesbury, they risked their lives for you. Speaking of which, Beesbury, it's the name of the guy, the I don't remember if he was a maester, but the guy
He
who
was on the small council.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Eamon bashes his head.
and
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I literally just thought about that, like, wait, I've heard that name before. Um, but I love the way that they are 10 toes down for Dump, because even Lionel was like, hey, you can come to Storm's End with me. He was like, I'll love you like a brother. And shit, if you don't want that, I'll hate you like a brother, but you can still come. I love that about him. And I'm a little sad that Dunk's not going, but I also understand why, because again, he doesn't want to play that whole Game of Thrones. He doesn't want to play that game. He wants to go and do good and be where he can be of help. So I get it. But I just wonder if that means we're not going to see Lionel in season 2, because I don't think that most of the characters that we've seen in this season 1, I don't think we'll see them in the next season, because if I'm not mistaken, they're not in
They're not in the
Swan
book.
Sword.
They're not.
But I love the fact that they're 10 toes down for him. I love the fact that Raymond was so giddy because he whooped his cousin's ass, and I'm like, yes, that's
He
like
said, I think I broke a
I
rib.
think I broke his rib. You know what? I would have loved to have seen Stefan running around or walking around or limping around being mad because his little cousin who he bullies all the time whooped your ass in the I would have loved to have seen that.
Which
He was
what
disturbed.
props to Duncan for not being judgmental and just
Oh, he
going
was
with
judging.
it.
He was judging. He just didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, he in his head he was judging. He didn't
Yeah.
say anything out loud.
When
He
he
just
He
like,
listened to
didn't
them, he
crush he
double
didn't want
judged.
I don't think he
okay,
wanted to hurt his friend.
No, of
no,
course not. He was
Yeah.
so happy. Oh my
he was
Yeah.
God.
happy. And
But
what is
So
Rain? Rain was like what, 18, 17,
if he's
18
that
too?
old,
him I wonder if he's younger than Dunk, because remember, again, Dunk is supposed to be what, 16, 17.
16,
I
17.
feel like
yeah,
Raymond is, even though of course we know he don't look it, but I feel like he's supposed to be younger than whatever Dunk is, or maybe around the same age. But I think Dunk was looking at her like, you
really, lady.
you dishonorable lying bitch. But he,
Yeah.
you know what? That ain't none of my business. I'm gonna stop getting in everybody's business, because this is what happens when I get in other people's business. So I think
Told
Yeah,
at this
be
point,
told.
Dunk was like, I'm
she's
done.
trying to be like Duncan. She's trying to get a fresh start. You
Yeah. I
know,
mean,
I'm
what's
not
wrong with
not
that?
gonna fuck her.
Right.
Nothing's
As
wrong with that.
long as she treat him right, it don't even
Hmm.
matter.
Help him out
Right.
with his apple cider business. He's
Because
good to go.
because you hurt Raymond Fossaway, we're gonna have some problems. Because he looks so happy, like he's a knight now. He fought in his first, like literally, you get knighted, you fight in your first battle, and you are on the winning side. You actually won against your opponent, and you helped Dunk beat who he was fighting. Like, and then you come, you find this woman just comes to you, and things happen, and then she's like, "Oh, you got me with child." He was like, "Well, I guess we need to get back." I was just sitting there looking like, you are so gullible. But you know what? She
You
might
happy?
have she might have gotten to the point where she was like, okay, I'm tired of living this life. I
Yeah.
need to go be somebody's woman somewhere.
And who
And
knows?
I want to say later, I I didn't have a chance to research this, but I do think in one of the books they talk about there being two Fossaway families, the red apple and the green apple.
Mm.
And I think that's why
Uh,
they wanted to make sure we saw the shield. Because I want to say it has something to do with the tournament at Heron Hall
Oh,
later.
okay.
oh.
That there are two groups of there are two Fossaway families.
Stefan probably wanted some revenge.
It was no, this is like way later. This is like
Oh,
Robert
okay.
Baratheon time
But
later.
I'm saying that's probably
Yeah,
what split the family
let's
into,
put his
because
family.
this right here, because of course
Yeah.
Stefan, you know, he betrayed his word, and he's over here, and Raymond is like, I don't want nothing to do with you. So that probably did cause a divide in the family, or that started the divide in the family,
Hmm.
you know?
Because who knows? Egg or somebody might give and Raymond a lordship somewhere
Yeah.
on his own for doing
Yeah.
what he did
Yeah.
at some
Because
point.
I'm sure Egg could probably be like, yeah, you are a good person. You are a true knight, and you are a loyal friend. Yeah. I'm going to bless you with all this stuff that your cousin
Yeah.
got by being, a traitor.
Oh, did y'all catch Lionel when he was like, we can travel the world. Hey, you ever been to Tarth?
Yes,
And then
yes.
and then they
I
cut.
was like, I was so sad when he turned him down because I was like,
Well, we know he makes the Tarth
He
somehow,
makes it
some
there
way.
eventually.
He makes his way there somehow.
He does.
But
But
Lionel also said, there's a war coming.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
yeah.
Another Black Fire Rebellion, probably.
Yeah, because Dunk asked that question. What was it when Lionel was talking about Baylor, and he was like, he put himself out there, and risked nothing. And what did he say? And the gods don't favor fraud. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how he looked like, because Lionel was not bothered at all about the fact that Baylor died. He was just
Mm-mm.
like, yeah, he's just another dragon. Okay, whatever. And Dunk
The only
was
good dragon is a dead dragon.
right. And Dunk is like, can you have some respect? He's risked his life for me. He died for me. Lionel was like, he ain't risk shit. Like,
Yep.
no. But and then they have that conversation, because Dunk is like, well, if the guys don't favor frauds, why did they
Why
favor
am I?
me?
Or
You know.
even Egg, like Egg out here lying and and doing his thing to get what he wants.
But you know what? I really feel like, so the thing with Egg, I feel is different, because obviously Egg has been born into this family, this supposed great family, and things are going to be expected of him, whether he ascends or whether he's just a Targaryen. And it's very, very obvious. This kid does not want this destiny. He does not want this family. He does not want to be a part of this, because what good has it done for him? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, you are a kid and you are so upset about everything that happened that you try to go and kill your brother. And your father is there and he just looks at you and goes to hold your shoulder, because he's like, I understand. How messed up is that? You don't say anything to your younger child. You don't scold him. You're not even angry with him, because you understand the motivation that is making your 9-year-old try to go kill his brother.
I think he understands. He just
And the
like,
fact that Egg has basically told him, yes, I want to be a squire, but I don't want to squire for anybody else but this man here, talking about Dunk. Obviously, he knows that if he squires for Dunk, they're not going to have a place to lay their head. They're going to be wanderers. He's going to have to eat his hard, soft beef. And he doesn't care. That's what he wants. The fact that you are not paying attention to this. And then when Dunk comes to you and says, okay, yeah, I'll take him to Squire, but we're not going to Summer Hall because look at how your other kids turned out. No, we're going to do this. We're going to live this way. We're going to sleep on the road. We're going to sleep in inns, basically live like a peasant. And you got the nerve to be all hoity toity, like, my son is of the royal blood. He's not going to sleep like a peasant. Guess what? He gonna
you
sleep like
want
a
him to
peasant.
be about something, then you gonna let him do this.
Because when Dunk was about to leave and Egg showed up and he was like, my Lord Father says I am to serve you. I said, your ass is lying, Egg. You're lying, you're lying, you're lying.
Just with a straight face.
And it's so funny because I saw something. I saw an article that says that is actually a departure from the books, because in the books, Maekar does tell Egg, okay, you can go squire for him. And then after they show the little title card at the end of the episode, you see the Targaryens rolling out, and you see Maekar just looking around. And he's just like, has anybody seen Aegon? No, sir, we haven't seen him. Where the fuck is he? I just fell out laughing. I was like, that's what you get. That's what you get.
But you know what? Somebody said that really what that was about was him knowing he knew Aegon ran away, but he couldn't tell everybody Aegon ran away with Dunk to go be doing
Yeah,
blah blah blah.
I
So
saw
he was
that
like,
too.
where is he because of that? So I was thinking about that. I was like, he could act like he's mad about it, so people won't think he just let him go. But maybe
Yeah,
he did. Could have actually let him go.
could
I
have,
mean,
yeah.
and now
But
he's just
either
playing
way
the
it goes,
role.
it was funny. Because everybody else, the people who are close to them is looking like, oh yeah, that Joker ran off again. The brothers are probably looking. Daron is probably like, yeah, he ran off and good for him. But
Yeah.
he probably
Hmm.
pissed too,
Yeah.
because that means he got to stay there, because Arion is about to go. He's banished to the east. Aemon is about to be sent to the
He's
Citadel. Egg
banished
is
to
now
Citadel.
gone.
Yeah.
So it's just him.
Oh,
Blessing and a curse.
Mm.
I don't know. But
Oh, I do like that. What's his name's daughter was like
Oh,
told
Dunk,
Dunk that she
yeah.
didn't blame him
yeah,
because
I don't
they
blame you for
treated
ruining
him.
my name day because what they did to you was crap. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I like that. I was like, okay. Somebody said something to him that was nice because everybody else is looking at him and kind of whispering and pointing and
The
the
same people
conversation.
cheering for him, all of a
Yeah.
sudden mad at him now.
Yeah, but it's again going back to the conversation that Dunk and Makar have when he first goes in there. Maekar is feeling bad because he was like, I know people are going to say that I meant to kill my brother. He was like, but I love my brother. And Dunk is like, yeah, you swung the mace, but it was my fault that he died. And I was like, no, it wasn't. It really wasn't. I mean, again, there are so many points where we can lay blame equally at everybody's feet. Yeah, Dunk, you lied to get into the list, but again, you weren't expecting Targaryens to be there. Then here comes Egg lying, kind of sort of lying by omission about who he is and gets you kind of mixed up in there. Then here comes Arion being an asshole and attacking people. And of course, your honor is not just going to let you sit back and do that. So Arion has a little bit of blame. Maekar, you got a lot of blame because you didn't know how to keep your sons in control. Like, Baylor, you come in and you decide you're going to join the fray, but again, you had no real risk. So there's like so many points where everybody has a little piece of the blame. But I really felt like I was feeling some kind of way about the way Maekar was treating Dunk because he wants to sit here and be like, yeah, it's because of you, it's because of you, without saying it's because it's because your son. It's because your son and you sending him to the east now is not going to reverse anything that just happened.
It's not gonna change him either because he passed that age of crazy. He
Yeah.
crazy, and going all he gonna do is now go to the east and learn about the faceless men and about the gold and company. All these people that's over there doing crazy stuff or whoever if they I don't know if they exist yet, but because I know they come from one of the Blackfire people. But like whatever they are over there in the Shy and all these other places in Essos, come on, man.
Right.
You really think that's gonna help him? Nah.
he's supposed to find honor over there.
Yeah. In
Good
the free
luck with that.
cities and the free cities.
In the free
Okay.
city.
He's not gonna find honor. He gonna find somebody who not gonna give a fuck that he's a Targaryen and he gonna get his ass whooped on a
Well,
regular
that
basis.
now that's good, but even with that, people are gonna immediately know he's a Targaryen if they know anything about, you know, the world. They're gonna immediately know by the look who
Yeah.
he is.
But depending on where he goes, some of them may not care.
I
Like,
hope they whoop his ass a few times for the old and new.
right. For the old,
For the old and the new.
right.
The old guys and new
The
guys.
old gods and the new.
Oh, guys.
Yeah, because if ever a Targaryen needed his ass whooped, it would be
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
So
Cause
I
you
did
know what? Like Damon did all kinds of fuckery, but Damon backed his shit up. He was a grown ass man backing his shit up. This little dude was such a little punk.
yeah,
He had to invoke a law from 6,000 years ago so he wouldn't die immediately. Cause that's
yeah.
what he probably would have been able to fight Dunk because he had better skills, but Dunk's sheer size probably would eventually had overpowered him anyway. And
And
that's what
once
he
that
knew that
honor
was
went
the
out the
case.
window, once Dunk was not Sir Dunk, once he was again Dunk from Flea Bottom, yeah, you can't come to a street brawl with formal training.
Honor.
It's just
Yeah.
not no.
With honor, you cheated.
It's
Okay.
just not gonna happen. I'm watching this in the background and Egg is looking in the mirror and his hair has started to come back in.
Growing back. I know. Little peach fuzz.
And the way that he looked so upset about that. And then that's when you see he the knife has gone out the fish. I said, "Oh, he about to go do something crazy." And when you see him walk into the bedroom and Ariana is in the bed, I was just like, "Do it, don't do it." Like I wanted him to like, yeah, I want him to have his revenge because the way this man
Yeah,
treated his baby brother, so horrible. But at the same time, I was like, hey, don't tarnish your soul like that. Please don't do it. You had plenty of time to do that when you were grown. Don't do it as a child. Just don't. Let it go. Let somebody else deal. I mean, this man is in the bed. He can't even move because he got his ass whooped. That just I wanted to be like, let it go. But then to see how angry he was and then how disappointed he was when his dad saw him and just you could feel that
yeah,
emotion coming off him. And again, Maekar, you could feel it. You know what your son was coming to do.
yeah. And
You
that's the
know,
thing,
you
like people don't understand when you bully somebody, especially when you're the older kid and you bully somebody and you do really messed up things to them when they little, they never forget that. He'll
No.
never forget that he told him that he was gonna cut his balls off and make him a sister. He's
no,
never gonna forget all this trouble he done caused, how he treated that girl, like anything that he's ever done to that little boy or around him, he is never gonna forget that. And
no,
so nothing he does is ever gonna be in Egg's head. He's never gonna be forgiven. And that's the
no,
thing about bullies. Like people don't understand, like once somebody has bullied you and treated you so badly and done horrible things to you, even once you grow up, they ain't forgot.
no. And you gotta think like just a little bit that we've seen and heard about Arion. You have to know it's got to be way more because
Oh yeah.
there's a difference between bullying someone and beating them up and making them not like you. This boy wants his brother
Dead.
dead
Killed
in
his
the
cat.
lists.
Mm,
Kill him, kill him, kill him. And then you come with a dinner knife.
yeah.
What you about to do with that? I mean, but
I mean, it was the best time to do it. You was gonna do it.
it was. And the fact that Maekar just sat there and held him by the shoulders and closed his eyes because you know this is what you did, your lack of
Yeah.
parenting. Now I don't know where the mama is. I know
I was
that
just about to ask you that.
yeah,
I was just about to ask
I
you that.
do know. I think the mom is not in the picture. I'm guessing she's dead or has been dead for a while. So I understand you're a man of the royal blood. You trying to raise four boys, four dragons. I get it. It's hard, but dude, you have failed as a father.
Because that's the thing I was gonna ask you about the mom is maybe that's why Arian is like he is because maybe Egg was the one that because back then they was dying having well still
Kind of
dead.
like Cersei and Tyrion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that hatred of oh you took my mother away because you were born
yeah.
and that because I mean I feel like he clearly doesn't hasn't had a relationship with a mom like nothing about a mother has ever come out of Egg's mouth. They talk about father and he's like yeah I barely know that mofo but like he never brings up mom he never nothing
Mm-mm.
about mom so I don't even think he probably even knows his mom maybe
Right.
and that's then so Arian that would lead me to think that Arian was like oh it's your fault and I hate you
Yeah. Yep. But there were some sweet parts about the episode. Dunk being reunited with Sweetfoot and then giving her to Sir
oh
Raymond.
which is
That
so
was really
significant.
sweet. You know, him having a little conversation with the horses because I guess Chestnut asked him a question. He was like, I don't know, stop asking.
You
Stop
did I
asking.
don't know
That was
bruh
really
the horse
cute.
whisperer is killing me that is funny
Right. His little I guess his daydream, his vision when he's with Sir Arlen. When I say that shit had me rolling because I'm thinking this is a flashback to whatever happened right before Sir Arlen died. He's telling the story, he stops, he's literally looking off like he's dead. And I
like
was
you
like,
said
oh, is this where he died? And then he picks up, he was like a true knight always finishes the
Always finish the
story. I was
story.
like, oh my
I
God.
think he fell asleep with his eyes open 'cause
But I was sitting there like, oh, is he dead? I'm literally
like
about to start crying. Like this man been dead since episode 1, and I'm about to start crying because Dunk
that's
starts
it
crying. And then he just wakes up and starts right back in the story and says, because a true knight always finishes his story. I was like, you know what? I can't with y'all. I can't.
I did tear up a little bit when they went down the path and he went off to because it's like Dunk finally let him go basically, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that did get me a little bit because I was like, oh, this episode, man, they didn't even pull my feels out, and then it was like that little scene, and I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, I looked at it. I looked at it like he's been with Dunk this whole time to make sure. Again, I feel like Dunk is the type of person who needs to have a companion. And I feel like once he realized that Dunk had somebody who was going to be with him now, he could go off into, you know, his pearly rest or whatever they do in Game of Thrones as far as the afterlife or whatever. I felt like he was like, okay, you know what? Dunk will be taken care of. I can go now, you know, because Egg, let me tell you, that little 9-year old gonna make sure Dunk is taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna be a good squire.
Yeah.
I can't wait for next season. I'm excited.
But at the end, did you see how the title changed to Night of the Nine Kingdoms?
Nine
Okay, so
Kingdoms.
this is I have a question because when he mentions the 9 kingdoms, I was like, okay, 2 of those kingdoms obviously don't exist anymore. What the hell happened to them?
Yeah, they do. They all
They're just,
exist.
but
Do
they're not
They
kingdoms though. They're
well, they
more
don't
like,
they don't really count the Crown Land,
yeah,
the Crown
the crown
lands.
lands.
they? Okay.
That's where King's Landing is.
Oh, okay.
And Dorne still ain't quite apart.
They came together by marriage, but they never
Yeah,
conquered
but
Dorne,
they never conquered
Okay.
them.
and they
Okay.
just don't
But
have a king.
Okay.
yeah.
But they never fully came together. But that was funny though. He was like, and I was like, oh wait, he is Damon.
Yeah. But yeah, they don't because the Crown Lands never had a king and Dorne was never conquered. So they're
Okay.
not really kingdoms.
Okay.
Well, they're not really part of the
Don't Dora have
realm.
princes?
They are
Yeah,
princes, yes.
they have
Okay.
Prince.
The
Okay.
prince is the ruler, and they're
Okay.
in the seat, Sunspear, but they're not. They don't have kings.
Okay.
Because again, the Targaryens never conquered Dorne.
Mm.
They
Mm.
just
And they
kind of
had
gave
to
up.
eventually be like, look, hey, give me a daughter. I give you a son. We're gonna do the thing,
Hmm.
Right.
and we're gonna be at peace because y'all tripping.
Yeah.
You brown people are tripping.
Right. And no matter how many people the Targaryens sent down there, they didn't make any headway. They would
Right.
die from sickness, they would get poisoned somehow. They couldn't eat
Somehow,
the food.
stop
I mean,
kissing on people.
you couldn't you couldn't even siege the place. You
Yeah.
couldn't do it
Yeah.
because they didn't know what plants they could eat. They didn't know if it was safe to drink the water.
Right.
Norm people they don't play fair.
Yeah.
Which is great. I wish Oberyn didn't play fair. He's
He
all
could have just kept his mouth shut and finished
he's
the job.
monologuing and shit.
They obviously don't have the Incredibles there because
If
anyway.
I feel like if I was in Westeros or whatever, I think Dorne would have been my spot though. I feel like I would fit
Mhm.
right in with their
Yeah.
lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah, you would. Uh-huh. But it's so funny when they were having the conversation and Egg tells him, he was like, there's 9 kingdoms in the realm, sir. And Duncan's like, are you mad? He was like, is that real?
I
I was
about
like, well,
died. I was
please
like,
don't.
wait, Egg, are you admitting to your insanity?
I was like, please don't let that be an
Like,
indicator of things
like
to come.
Is that relevant?
Right.
do you know my brother?
I was like, that's one of those winky type things. Like, uh-huh.
Yeah, that's not a part of this conversation. That's not what we're talking about. We're
Right,
talking about
right.
the number of kingdoms there are. But I
And
like
when they're
said
trying
that
to
the
figure out where
crown.
to go, he was like, yeah, we should go to Dorne. I hear they got good puppet shows there. I
Good
was
puppet
like, look
show.
at you, you little wingman. He's like,
Smart
yeah,
boy.
I
let's
see
go
what
check.
you're doing. I
Right.
see
Smart
what you're doing.
boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're trying
That
to
look,
nudge him in the right direction.
right. Look, that's probably why Sir Arlen was able to veer off. He was like, okay, yeah, he gonna take care of my boy. So yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
I,
Overall this season has been amazing.
It
Like
has.
I knew it was like gonna be adventurous and kind of humorous, and I knew it was gonna be, but I didn't think I would fall in love with these characters the way I have.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard because I'm like, well, and then you're like thinking we might not get Lionel no more, and I love Lionel
I
because
know.
we lost Baylor, even though he didn't have to be lost.
I know.
But
But
we wouldn't have Game of Thrones without Baylor dying. Isn't that
that's
crazy?
true.
George R. R. Martin's evil. I just want to say that.
I mean, think about all the stuff that we got because certain people died and certain,
We we
yeah,
have to pave the way for Jon Snow.
you know what? And we're not,
Jon Snow.
Gotta make it happen. I'm sorry,
because
Aegon the
you
Seventh.
didn't really do
Happened.
anything with that reveal in the show. And at this point, we're probably never going to get the completion of Winds of Winter because he basically has said he has no motivation to finish it. So if
Yeah.
you're not finishing that book, you're definitely not finishing the other, what was it supposed to be, 2 more books after that?
Mhm.
How many did he write while the show was going on?
None.
None.
So he didn't work like he was already up to whatever the one before this one was before
Yeah,
the show.
Winds of
So
Winter. He was writing Winds of Winter when the show premiered
show
because I
started. Yeah.
remember I was like, okay,
that's a hot mess.
so I'm gonna wait to read the books. I said I'm gonna wait until Winds of Winter comes out and then I'll go ahead and read the books. That was when Game of Thrones first premiered,
First premiere.
and
Crazy.
we're still waiting on that
He
book.
so
Now,
what he did was he sold his baby. The baby became bigger than him and bigger than his books. And then he got tired. He got tired of everything that came along with them. And I don't blame him because Game of Thrones was the biggest thing for at least 10 years.
but
What,
he's
8 years?
still
I
he's
don't know
still
how many
doing
years it
Yeah.
was.
stuff for it. But I think the other
Yeah.
thing was he probably got discouraged once he parted ways with Dan and Dave as far as where the show was going. But it's like you ain't even writing the story, so what did you expect them to
Yeah,
do?
they needed to
Yeah.
finish it somehow.
Right, because
Well,
if you didn't want them taking their own direction with your characters, then one, you either should have never signed the deal for them to start, or your ass should have been writing.
Yeah,
no, well, they figured out how it was gonna. They figured out the ending, so he was okay with that because that's the ending was what he had envisioned. It was the stuff getting there, which he hadn't even written it, and they were writing it for him.
The assumption that the way they ended it was not how he had planned on ending it.
I thought he wanted Danny to become like a mad queen. I thought that was his whole like ending was that's what he wanted because he's crazy.
Well, the thing is, he's had several different times he's said several different things about
Yeah,
how it was going to end,
yeah,
Mm,
but the gist was kind of there. But the biggest issue was how they were getting to the end because he hadn't written it yet. And
mm.
but
since
that's
he
his
wasn't
fault.
able to give him anything, that's why he kind of walked away.
Started these
Was
books in
he
the
didn't like
90s.
it? He didn't like anything they were talking about. So he's like, oh, I'm done. But
His
you know what?
fault.
Money can be either a really good motivator
Yeah,
or a demotivator. And I think money became a demotivator for him because he's getting these big fat checks. He ain't writing anything really.
Yeah,
So where's the motivation?
yeah,
and he clearly doesn't owe a publisher the work because they would have forced it out something out of
yeah,
him by now.
yeah, yeah,
So it's
Well, they know his writing style. They know that the way he writes doesn't isn't conducive to being pressured to write
yeah.
the book.
yeah.
But like
But
the thing that I don't want that I don't know. I kind of think about like what's his name, Brandon Sanderson. Is that his name
Hmm.
that started writing for your boy Jordan? Like,
mm.
Hmm.
is at some point would somebody just be like, "Fuck it, I'm going, I'm going to finish these books."
So apparently he addressed that in the interview he did a few months ago where he said there are no notes. There's nothing, so there's nothing for a quote unquote ghostwriter to pick up on if he dies. Because I mean, let's face it, this man's close to 80.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's just be realistic. Average lifespan for a white male in the United States is what, 77. So he's already said that yeah, there's nothing there. There won't be anything for anybody to pick up. And I don't know if he has actually, I don't think he's chosen anyone to ghostwrite. I don't even know if he's gonna give the rights to anyone to say, okay, yeah, after I'm gone, they can pick this up. Because I'm pretty sure there are some probably some great, fantastic fan fiction writers who have already completed the story. I'm sure there are other authors who are probably like, okay, yeah, I can do this. But it's just one of those things where it's like you can have your creative control over your characters, but if you're going to do an adaptation and you know that I mean, he knows his story is good. He knows that people were going to fall in love with this world and with these characters. Then you should have been doing something with that. And it's like, it's not like he can't write because he's been writing all kinds of other shit. He's helping to develop all these other shows.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like also like with House of the Dragon, one of the things I've been seeing people do a lot online, they've been comparing to House of the Dragon and A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And we already know that he's already fallen out with the showrunner of House of the Dragon. I think he's no longer involved with that because they were also taking things in a different direction. And the thing that's interesting to me about that is with A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, you have a story that you have told. This is the story. This is what happened. The thing with the Dance of Dragons and House of the Dragon is that whole story is told by a third party view by two
Like,
other people. No, actually by three other
is
people.
it like
You have three
Mushroom and
different
somebody else?
you have three different quote unquote eyewitness accounts giving these stories. So I don't have a problem with the way that they've been doing House of the Dragon is because it's basically all up for interpretation because one person who is looking at things from Team Green side, they might say some things or they might say this is how things were, but someone on Team Black might see it a different way because you're
Right.
looking at it from a different perspective. Then you may have one person who is neutral, who is looking at the bullshit they're doing on both sides, saying, hey, this is kind of what's going on. But you don't really have anything with those stories that say this is exactly what happened, except for things like the battles, the dragons dying. There are certain things that you know happen because it's there, but everything else that's in between, you can fill in the gaps. And I feel like that's what House of the Dragon is doing. It's giving us a version of that story. And
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that because when you read the books, you're like, but did this really happen this way? Okay,
Right.
so the show is saying it happened a different way. I haven't had a problem with the way they've told the story so far.
Doesn't he
But
have an opportunity to help write though the actual writing of the show? Didn't I thought he was helping to
He was
write the
involved up
actual
until I
show?
believe mid season two.
So he just
And he didn't
basically
like
didn't like
yeah,
it.
he didn't like the
yeah,
way they were going. But of course, when
he didn't
you
like what they were doing with the story. Like I
yeah,
think see he made a mistake. I think he made the mistake of saying that it was unreliable narrative because people
Mm,
would ask him questions about the stuff in Fire and Blood. But then when they do the show, he it's almost like he didn't want to fall back on that. He was like, no, 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 no. I think it should be this way. And they're like, well, you don't really give us any guidance. We think this is a better story.
mm-hmm,
And he said, well, fine, y'all do it yourselves.
right.
You know, but he should understand, and he should. I'm not going to speculate, but he should realize that once he passes, it's out of his control.
it's out of his control because they gonna put what they want.
They're gonna
I
do
mean,
what they
it's
want
even
to.
with this one. Like they said, he had a problem. He didn't like the fact like the poop scene at the beginning. He thought that was overkill. That it wasn't necessary. The showrunner was like, nope, it's staying, and he had to like let it go. You go disagree with people who own the thing that you
Mm-hmm.
sold.
Right,
Like
Because
right.
that's just life.
I was listening. I started listening to Unfinished Tales by Christopher Tolkien, and in the introduction, he talks about how he's like, I'm paraphrasing, My dad had all this stuff that he wrote, all these notes, all these letters, and I'm pretty sure he didn't want any of this to be published.
Mm.
But here we are. You know, people want to know things, they want more information, and I'm looking at it, it's all right here. People
Mhm.
ask questions. All the answers, for the
Right,
most part, are here.
right.
And
Which
I'm
is
sure my dad didn't want any
crazy.
of this stuff published.
Mhm.
He probably would say, please, God, no, it's terrible. It's not accurate. It's not right. He's like, and Chris was like, no, some of it is bad. Some of it is good. Some of it is contradictory. But guess what? Here we are.
Mhm.
Here's a book. Here's
Right.
two books. Here's three books. And Frank Herbert is probably the same way. His kid is out making books and stuff, and it's happened. When Robert Ludlum died, who wrote The Born Identity,
Mhm.
Yeah.
they went and got Eric Van Lesbader to write it, and this is how it's going to
They
be.
got 50 million books now. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is how it's going to be.
yeah.
You know, once
Well, that's
once you pass, it's going to be up to your estate, but they ain't even no guarantee either.
that's the thing. Like they talk about like with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle about Sherlock and how he was just like, I don't care what you do with him when I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever you want. I don't care. That's why there's so much Sherlock content that just goes on and on and on because he was like, take it. It's for the masses. I'm gonna be dead.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
and I get you wanting your thing that you created to be, but you're gone. You're dead.
and you can't stop it because like even Christopher Tolkien was like, no TV shows, no movies, nothing. And then he dies. All right, here comes Brian. We're gonna do a TV show. We're gonna do movies,
We're gonna do
At
an
some
cartoons,
point,
animated series.
comic books.
yeah. At some
Yeah.
point, it's gonna. What is it? What is the thing called? It's gonna do. It, come out of.
Oh, public domain.
It's gonna be public
Yeah,
domain exactly.
Yeah, and
And
then you're
you
gonna
guess
gotta
get
what?
get
stuff
you gotta
like
get your money's
serial
worth.
killer Winnie the Pooh and all this other bullshit that's coming.
Gotta get
Art
your
is
money's worth.
subjective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to.
But I
Got to.
mean, again, if you don't want people to quote unquote change your work,
Don't
taint your
sell it.
story or whatever, finish the goddamn book. I mean, and here's the thing. I know writers have their own styles, they have their own ways of working, stuff like that. Sometimes they take years. I mean, we're all sitting, Dina and I and Michelle, we're sitting here waiting for the last Outlander book, even though the show is about to end on their final season. But you know what she said? She says this all the time. She was like, one thing that I had to let go of. She was like, the show is the show and the books are the books. She was like, yeah, they come to me, they take the stories from the books, they adapt them. Sometimes they make changes because what happens in the books are not necessarily going to show up, well on screen. And then if you've ever read a Diana Gabaldon book, she can write. And there's just so much material
Mhm.
that nowadays, especially in this day and age, you can't put all of that in a TV show. You would literally have to go to network TV, back to the 22,
Yeah,
23
22.
episode show.
Yeah,
Nobody's really doing that
yeah. And
anymore.
that you can't do that with dragons, boo.
No, that's too much money. And even the whole time travel thing, like, yeah, you could probably do it, but let's be honest. Outlander put a lot of their stars, like some of their stars were already in the business, but Outlander catapulted their careers. I think the reason why the show is ending before the books have ended, because Katrina is in everything now. Sam is doing stuff now. Richard is doing other projects. Sophie is doing other projects. You can't tie people down
Yeah, yeah,
to, 10, 15 years, especially when the story is not done,
yeah.
you know? And it's kind of like they've talked and they're like, yeah, we kind of sort of have an idea of what's going to happen in the books, but that's not
Uh,
how our show is going to end. Because if here's the thing, if I'm adapting a show based on some books and the books haven't come out yet, why as an author would I allow a show to tell my ending
yeah. That I haven't
before
even
I've written it?
figured out.
Because if the fans already know what's going to happen, what's going to motivate them to read the book once it's done? Granted, yes, the writing, you have more details in the book, but still, it's kind of like if you already know the ending here, are you really going to be motivated to buy it there? For a lot of people, no, because there are a lot of people who will read the books and not watch the show, and there are a lot of people who watch the show and they don't want to read the books. You have a lot of people, they busy. They don't have time to read 1,000-page book, much less 10 of them.
And let's just be real. We would still be waiting on Daenerys as the cross the narrow sea. Her Dothraki would be 90 years old by the time he child.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Right. And
Yeah.
Diana doesn't even take that long to write her books. I mean, Go Tell the Beast I'm Gone just came out, what, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So when you think about it compared to George R. Martin, that ain't nothing.
I did not realize he had started that book before the show. That is insane.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I probably got to the third book and I was like, bruh, it's a lot.
I did the first book and
It's a
then I was
lot.
just kind of like, I'm gonna wait. And then I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And now I've gotten to the point, like I have them all on the shelf and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna read them because I I'm a completionist. I want to finish the story.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Well, I got the book 4 and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And I
Like
want to
real
say
talk,
that was before they even talked about being a TV show.
okay.
I was just like, I'm done with this.
Right.
it's it's like he's so good. He's so thorough. Like he just a lot. But like it's just so much stuff that's just like, bruh, can we pare this down about a
Yeah.
couple of
What
hundred
what
pages?
what I loved about his writing style is I love the point of view chapters. I
Yeah,
love books like that when
Yeah.
yeah.
something is point of view.
Yeah.
Hearing,
And it just got to be too much though.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's got
yeah.
to be too much.
I
And
love
he's
hearing.
talking about he's planning, he has I think like 15 more novellas that he's gonna do for Duncan Egg, which is probably why the showrunner was like,
Uh,
oh yeah, we want to do 15 seasons.
oh Lord, Lord.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say I would be mad about more Duncan Egg. I wouldn't,
Yes.
but it's just kind of like, again, I'm a completionist. I really want all of the stories, and I I just I feel like if he starts more stories with Duncan Egg and then just kind of stops, gets bored, gets tired,
I'm gonna be mad.
has, a brain fart, writer's block, whatever, and just be like, okay, I'm not gonna do this anymore, I'll be really mad.
But I will say this: at least we freaking know how their story ends.
That is true.
That is
Well,
true.
apparently Dexter let something slip in an interview that suggested that the ending for one of the characters is not what we think it is. So I was like,
Mm.
really? So
That
I,
little
I don't
baby, they gonna have to train him because he's spilling the tea.
he might be doing that on purpose though. He
I
could be
hope
doing that on
so because
purpose,
I don't
like,
want
yeah,
him to
let's
get
just,
in trouble.
I know. But yeah,
That little sweet
overall,
face.
going back to the show, I did enjoy this season. Like I said, I think this last episode was just kind of weird with the modern music and the whiplash cuts. But other than that, I did enjoy. I really loved the characters, even the characters that we hated. I loved how they were brought to life. I would like to see some more about these particular characters. So if we're not getting them in second season, then yeah, write a couple more novellas so we can find out what's going on, because I looked up some stuff earlier tonight and I was just like, oh, that's interesting, like finding out about Valar's wife, because I'm watching the funeral saying, I'm like, who's the black chick? I need to know who that is. So I go to look and I find out who she is, and then I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I would like some of those
Okay.
stories, because when you find
Yeah.
who she is and then you find out like some familial connections, you're like, oh, this should be an interesting story. But,
Okay.
but yeah, I would like to see some more stories, but I thoroughly enjoyed this show. I thoroughly enjoyed Peter and Dexter as Duncan Egg, and I'm very much looking forward to season 2. It can't come fast enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
now we
even
just
worse because it's so short.
I
You know,
know. I know, because now we're just
Hmm.
gonna have to tide ourselves over with clips, and I can send, keep sending stuff to Dina, and every time she gets a clip about Dexter, she's like, "I love him so much, he makes me cry."
oh my God, he's so sweet. I hope he doesn't lose that. I mean, obviously he's got to grow up, but
Yeah,
that kid is just too sweet. And then for him to be so good, because like he's a sweet kid and he has all this like kid energy, but when he gets on screen, his
that boy is about
acting
his
is
business.
phenomenal, like
Yeah,
insane.
and he was
And
9 in
yeah,
this. He's
9 years
11
old.
now, but he was like, "Yeah, when we started filming, I was 9." I'm like, I was still playing with Barbie dolls at 9. I was still like,
Look, he
what?
cut his hair. What kid just is okay with shaving his hair off, girl? Like this kid is in it.
I know you saw the clip of him getting his head shaved.
I
Yeah,
saw for yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Uh,
and
He
the
looked as
clip,
shocked as we were.
yeah. Like, wait, what? And it's so strange seeing him with hair now in his interviews and stuff. And I'm like, he has hair. But yes, yeah. He's so sweet. He's so good. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does with the second season and what they do with the second season. They need to hurry up.
And it's cool seeing them in interviews together because they do have really good chemistry.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
know. It's so
They
cute.
are like big brother, little brother, and
Little bro.
it's lovely to watch.
yeah,
It's so much
Ah,
fun.
yeah. I enjoy the show. I like the format. I like the lightheartedness, but also like that they could slap you and remind you that this is
Game of Thrones.
Westeros.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so I enjoyed
Absolutely.
it, and it was
Do
really close to the book. Like I was really
yes.
amazed and shocked at how
Yeah,
close to the novella it
but
was.
that's how the first couple of seasons of Game of Thrones was.
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
true.
true.
That is true.
That's true.
So,
Slow. Oh,
so we gotta wait for this one. House of the Dragon comes back in June. The,
June.
the trailer looks amazing. I'm just like, ooh. And then when I looked at some stuff, knowing what I know about certain peers, I was like, oh, y'all about to just tear our hearts out again this season. I'm prepared for it, but I already know it's gonna be like Baylor. Like I knew that was coming and I still wasn't prepared.
It's
Yeah.
like watching the trailer. Why y'all showed me cry face Rhaenyra? Why you show me that? Because that means
Right. I
that
was
can only mean
like,
one thing. Mm-mm-mm.
oh, okay. All right. Let's just go on ahead and get ready. Just go on ahead and get ready.
Let's
But
go
you
ahead and
guys have
prep
anything
ourselves.
final to say about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, or excuse me, A Night of the Nine Kingdoms? They did say that was just that was just a title card. They are not changing the name of the show. It's still A Night of the Seven
Right.
Kingdoms.
Right.
But okay.
Nope, it was great. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they did this. It's really good because I was worried when they started talking about doing spinoffs, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
what we gonna get? And this was really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So can't wait to see what they do with season 2. But for season 1, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.